we've got Cottage Farms, and Katie Dubow is joining us. She is a garden expert. She's very much into garden trends and gives us a lot of great ideas where to plant these things, but also she's an author, and I think you've judged at plant shows and all kinds of things.
Yes.
So Katie, welcome.
So good to see you.
So good to see you too. What's this between us?
This is the problem solver vine of the century. It's such a great problem solver because it grows up, but it also has fragrance, attracts pollinators. It's our honeysuckle, which you probably know and love from childhood.
That's
and taking out the little stamens.
I always did.
Yes.
I ate those things.
Totally. And this is just better and improved. So that is a native vine, but it can take over, right? It can be a little bit aggressive. So this is something that is going to always be compact. It only grows about 6 feet tall, and it does not ramble like that. It grows up the space wherever you want it to, but will not put up little shoots and spread around.
I see. That's interesting. So it's kind of like whatever kind of background you put there, that's what it will fill up. And then will it just fill in kind of all the nooks and crannies that way?
A lot of people ask, like, how do I get it to grow up the vine? Well, look at this. This is looking for somewhere. You put your hand there. It's going to wrap around your arm.
It's in front of the flowers, so I'm going to put it in front of me so you can see.
Thank you.
Look at this. I mean, this is already coming on out. You see that? Hang on a second, right there. Look, I mean, that's like another 12, 18 inches that it's coming out. And this is how it's going to ship. You will get 2 of these in these 4-inch pots, and that's how it will ship to you. Then what does it need as far as sun or shade or that type of thing?
So because this is a pollinator plant, one of the things that I like to remind people is it's full sun. So most of our pollinator plants, if you know it's a hummingbird mint or a butterfly bush, that plant's going to want full sun. It's going to need at least, that means 4 to 6 hours a day. The more sun it gets, the more flowers you'll get, which is what you want, because the other new thing about this breeding is that these flowers are like kapow! They are this magenta.
Big.
They are huge.
Look at
They're
this.
like a creamsicle color at first, and then they evolve into this magenta color. So it's really, really fun to see these bright, bold colors growing up in these problem spaces, which is really nice to have interest. You know, you want vertical interest in your garden.
A lot of times things like this can have a lot of mildew problems and things. Tell me about that.
Well, so a great thing about, besides breeding for color, we're breeding for disease resistance. So no need to spray here, which you don't want to be spraying anyway because of our little hummingbird friends that are going to be attracting it. It's drought tolerant, disease resistant. It really makes it for a very low maintenance, easy plant. You can plant in containers like we have here. It just needs something to support it. Or you can plant it in the ground if you get 2. So if you have an arbor or a trellis or something, plant on either side. They'll grow up. You will get flowers this season for sure.
Okay, here's the other thing I was just going to say is that, tell me that again, what did you say? 2,900 remain for the season. So a lot of times people want to get more than 1 set because you're getting 2 plants. But these are going to spread, you said, actually about 5 to 6 inches, or excuse me, feet.
That's right.
5 to 6 feet tall. And then, of course, you're going to get some width to it, too. It depends upon what you're staking it with. But look how beautiful those are. Now, you were saying, too, that you can even create like a privacy hedge with this. And you know, I was thinking a lot of times around here, people are, you know, buying these townhomes and condos like nonstop. And their deck looks at the next person's deck that looks at the next person's deck. I was just thinking, if you bought a few of these, you know, buy 2 sets, you get 4. You get them in these pots and you put them on like a stake. That this one's kind of like a fan stake.
It is,
And you put them side by side by side. You've now got that privacy hedge that I think a lot of people don't even think about, because you always think you got to do it in the ground, but you don't. So if it's just on a deck, as long as your deck gets sun.
That's right. And this is about 2nd year. So if you're thinking, well, it's going to take me years to have that privacy, this is about 2nd year. And you also will in some areas, so if you're zone 7 or higher, which just means you get about freezing, the leaves will stay green. We call that an evergreen plant. So on this, actually, the leaves can stay evergreen depending on where you live. So
if it stays warm enough in the winter,
stays warm enough in the winter,
But so now, what if I'm in the winter, or you know, like on the northern part of the United States? Will this work?
It will work. Just the leaves will die back, but it will grow back every year, bigger and better, because it's a perennial, which means it comes back year after year. And if it's in a container and you do live live in those northern areas, just make sure you keep it in that sunny spot. You don't need to bring it in the house or anything.
How pretty.
Very easy care.
One other thing just to mention, I was reading that this one kind of goes into a not beads, but berries in the fall.
Yes.
And so it's like you're feeding the hummingbirds and the butterflies and all this, but then in the fall you're feeding the birds.
Yes, I'm very passionate about creating a garden. I think all of our gardeners here are, but creating a garden that is 4 seasons of interest, but also 4 seasons that supports that wildlife, but not the wildlife you don't want.
Right.
So, you know, the deer and the rabbits, but you will have the those songbirds who are looking for that vital food to support them. They'll be attracted to this in the fall and winter.
And don't forget, it's fragrant.
Yes!
You know, when I was talking about putting it on your deck, hey, make your privacy and then park your chair right there. So you can
and you can have a little
watch
snack.
the hummingbirds and smell the flowers. Katie, thank you so
good to
much.
see
Great
you.
to see you too.
Thanks.
Okay, in the meantime, we've got a lot of other fun things coming up. And